All right, Chris did something similar to this, but I need to talk about the Texans. As you know, with this channel, we are Lions fans. We've never hid that from anybody, but we do, as I'm hiding it, like as I'm doing that, but we do, and we have been following the Texans for a long time on this channel. At times, we almost did solely Texans content, but we love the NFL, and we love talking ball. So that's what we do here, try and give a non-biased view. We started doing Texans coverage well over a year ago, and just because we thought they could be a good team, and then they ended up being a really good team. And so we've always seen the good in the Texans. It was a close game with the Colts. It was a close game with the Colts, and I don't think it should have been as close, and that's why I think this win was even better than we originally thought for the Houston Texans. So in this one, I'm going to give you really 4 reasons why this was an even better victory than we thought. And the number one is something that is so out there, it doesn't even make sense, but I couldn't help but notice it. And one of them were the new turf that was at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Colts. It felt like there was this new turf, right? And like the Texans were slipping and sliding. All right, especially Stroud. He couldn't get his footing. It took him a while to kind of get into the game, catch the footing. So, like, the Colts obviously knew it was coming. They had no problem with it because it's their home turf. But the Texans themselves really struggled at times with the turf. That's not going to be the norm the majority of time in the NFL. It's not. So what happens was you go on the road against a divisional rival when it's a hostile environment, and now, quite frankly, it's a hostile field. And so you have this hostile environment, you have this hostile field because it's slip and sliding all over, and you still find a way to pull out a victory. I thought that was a reason the victory was even better than we thought, because the Colts obviously are a team that are going to find a way to score. They're a team that's going to find a way to stay in games for sure. All right, reason number 2. While the run game was great, the offense had some protection issues. That is not going to continue. That was not something that we saw regularly last year. That got fixed up. You can scheme that. You can hold people in for chips. You can hold people in for blocks. The offensive line will continue to come together more and more throughout the year. So this is not an offensive line that lacks skill. All right? I don't think this is an offensive line that lacks skill in any way, shape, or form. All right? When you look at the offensive line, you have Tunsil, you have Green, you have Scruggs, you have Mason, you have Howard. Like, this is not a struggle bus offensive line for talent. So it was simply, all right, what happened with the protection issues? I think it's simply a coaching adjustment. I think it's a scheme adjustment, and they allowed for it, and it was kind of interesting to see. And to prove my point, I'm going to give you the third reason why the victory is better than we thought, and that's because Joe Mixon was a baller. All right, I think we all wondered what the running game would look like this year. If you remember to some of my videos last year, I talked about this run scheme and other players that come from the Shanahan tree, right? That's what this is. It's the Shanahan tree on offense. And what we see traditionally in the Shanahan offense is that from year 1 to year 2, the yards per attempt, whether the running back stays the same or whether there's a new running back, go up at least a half a yard per carry. That's a big deal. All right, and the Texans spent much of last year, really the first 10 games, struggling to consistently move the ball on the ground. By the end of the year, Singletary was running much, much more effectively and much more efficiently. Joe Mixon, coming from a very similar system in Cincinnati, is now saying, hey, I got this. I know how to run this. Now, you can't give that guy the ball 30 times a game. And by the way, Dameon Pierce, on the very few times that he carried it, looked very capable. It seemed like he was fine too. So next time, if there are 30 carries by the running backs, my expectation is that Joe Mixon gets 20 of them and Dameon Pierce gets 10. So this run game is already on point, and it's what helped you seal this game and absolutely put it away. So that's another reason to be even more optimistic, if I can be honest, about what happened. And then the next one is that C.J. Stroud, you know what? He wasn't dead on. He wasn't dead on, but still, what you were able to see is a fairly even target share. You had 8 targets to Nico Collins, 7 to Tank Dell, 6 to Stephon Diggs. And that is what you are going to continue to see. Now, if teams decide to take someone away, great. All right, but all 3 of these guys are elite, capable wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, when you look at him running routes, whatever he's doing, he still looks like the Diggs of old. He looks much more like Stephon Diggs of 26 than Stephon Diggs nearing retirement. Like, he's 30 years old. He still has legs under him. He still has the burst. He still has the quickness. He still has the route running. He still has the hands. And he seems to be excited even when he's not getting the football. And we'll see how long that lasts. But it was nice to see that C.J. Stroud had the confidence and the offense continued to play how the offense plays, right? Each of these guys consistently, I think, are going to get 6 to 10 targets a game, each one of them. And so it'll be very interesting each game to see who's going to play well. This stinker in this one was Tank Dell. All right, not all because of him, but 7 targets. He only had 3 catches. The other 2 guys had 6 catches each on 6 and 8 targets. All right, the best, most productive player was Nico Collins as far as yardage, and Diggs got in the end zone. This is what this offense is. And when Joe Mixon is running the ball well, when this team can run the ball, and they have those weapons on the outside, and they have C.J. Stroud throwing to him, all right, 234 yards. Could be one of the worst passing games he has all year. Like, I'm just saying. I'm just going to be honest with it. And they let him let it go more. He absolutely got more freedom. And Bobby Slowick said that last year, probably 5-6 games into the season. He's like, I need to learn to trust Stroud and let him let it rip. And that's what C.J. Stroud is going to do. It's not always going to be perfect. Will there be picks every once in a while? Sure. But he has proven now that he can be that elite type quarterback. And here's what I'm going to say finally after this. Look, it was a close game, 29-27. It never felt like the Colts actually were going to be able to win this game. It didn't. And it never felt like Anthony Richardson was even close to on par as a quarterback as C.J. Stroud. Look, I understand it. Both guys drafted in the same year, same division. There's going to be comparisons to them forever, right? Drafted 2 and 4, 5. I don't know exactly when Richardson was drafted. There's going to be comparisons forever. You win. All right? Even if it's like, oh, yeah, but Richardson really didn't play much last year. No, his accuracy was all over the place. All right? C.J. Stroud's is not. C.J. Stroud avoided taking big hits. Anthony Richardson did not. You have the best quarterback in a division where you're the only team that's 1-0. Everybody else is 0-1. Who would have saw that coming? All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the content. We'll see you on the next one.